Kiara and Stella's eyes have reflective pupils, while Rain and Kane's don't. Also, Kiara's hand is clipping into Rain's shoulder. Also, the red light under Rain's eye is inconsistently bleeding through. If it's meant to be like that, even when his eye is closed, then it should cover the entirety of his lower eyelid, not just the inner corner. A bit early for the triple also, but the way Kiara's arm is positioned makes it look like she's holding her karambit, when in reality, it's just clipping through her knife that's attached to her hip. This motion blur was most definitely added in post. I'm fairly certain falling down doesn't result in sideways motion blur. I hate to break it to you, Kane, but bending at the knees like that after hitting the ground doesn't negate the fact that you probably just broke your kneecaps along with at least one ankle. All of these movements are super robotic thanks to a lack of arcs. The characters freeze completely at the end of each movement. Their facial expressions aren't much better. The characters' emotions are either a disinterested or a thanks to the mouths being left mostly in a straight line or rectangle. Part of Kane's eye is visible when he blinks. Speaking of Kane's eye, where's the other one? Just because he has an edgy emo bang hairstyle doesn't mean his other eye suddenly doesn't exist anymore. Nice. The return of the wacky run cycle. There's no way Stella should be able to run here. I mean, she just straight up knees the ground after every step. Magic witch demon or not, that is not a viable way to run. The motion blur leaves much to be desired when it comes to the overall clarity of the scene. It's akin to watching the video through a piece of dough in front of a window pane. Also, Stella's hair occasionally freezes in midair as it bobs up and down. Kane distorts the background around him. You know, as all the cool dudes do. And Rain's arm clips into Kane's. That's clipping 3, animator 0.
Attackers win!
As Kane moves his head, his tongue stays in the same position. Goodbye, tongue. You will be missed. Kiara turns around in the shot, but in the next, she does it again. Yup, and Kiara's arm clips into her torso. Looks like it's time to collectively sin clipping. The red glow on Rain's eye sticks out way further than it should. Why is his purple eye's pupil turned so far in? Also, the choice to color the iris white just causes him to look like he's making a derp face.
Derp.
Kane's legs do a strange little jig right before he slashes. The motion blur on Kane's cleaver is a bit spotty in this shot. The red slashing effect is poorly timed here. Kane has already completed his motion before the effect shows up in full. The arm further from the screen has arcing that's done about as well as a baby trying to walk for the first time. Kane's blade is kind enough to gently drop straight down out of his hand. Either that, or the animators just dragged it straight down instead of animating it properly. Speaking of cutting corners, they didn't even bother to animate Rain looking at Kane. Instead, he has a mildly angry expression on his face while staring at the ground. Rain's purple eye's iris finally moves out of the position it's been locked in for the past couple shots. Kiara turns so fast here. She must have some sort of magic neck brace, as it turned that fast would have definitely left her messed up from whiplash. Unless Stella's hair is absurdly light or she's somehow in a wind tunnel, there should be no reason for her hair to be floating behind her. Rain's arm flickers slightly as he stares at Kane here. I guess that was supposed to be Kane unholstering his quiver and crossbow, but there are no straps or anything, so really it just looks like he's disengaging whatever hacks are keeping them in place on his arm. Hey, look! It's floating! No, not him! The weapon down there! Kane's jump barely has any ease in or anticipation, as he bends his knees for no more than 2 frames, then just gets launched into the air. Not to mention, the motion blur seems to be a frame behind here. This shot of Stella is so lackluster. The background is hardly more than a solid red block and the lighting itself is just very flat. Also, we see that the portal she's walking away from is fully intact, while in a later shot, the corresponding portal in the overworld is broken. How could this have happened? It's not like she could have reached back through and done it herself when she was in the Nether. She would have ended up like... This Blaze's head looks like it's glued to the air. It should have at least a little up and down movement. If these are meant to be flat slices of obsidian, then why would they be so much smaller than the clearly uniform sizing of the other blocks making up the portal? So, Rain's purple eye is back to red now? Did he just need to beat someone up to get it to return to normal? I still think he needs to see a doctor about it. Ah, yes. We can't just have a girl walk normally. No, she's gotta excessively sway her hips. Because that's what all girls do, right? This spark asset pops up a couple inches from where the blade actually makes contact. Okay. I know we collectively sinned clipping earlier, but, like, look at this! Kiara's blade clips right through Stella's. When Kiara is being lifted up by Stella's magic, her eyebrow isn't also highlighted like the rest of her body. We need stricter magic laws! Kiara's knives jolt just a little bit, which definitely shouldn't have happened considering we've seen how that power works, involving her teleporting to the blades instead of the blades teleporting to her. These light pillars are perfectly spaced out, but as we see later, the chests they're coming from are unevenly placed and much closer together. Also, these beams should have a pure white center. The contrast here is way too low. Oh god, Stella's eyes are white voids! In all seriousness, this looks kinda goofy. Even just a mild glow from her eyes would have helped. Hey, I don't wanna watch you slip away. Oh dear, these run cycles are terrible. I can only think of one thing to describe this. That was the jerkiest stop I've ever seen. Actually, let's just go ahead and send all the janky and jerky movements in the video. Kane and Kiara stand completely still as Rain runs to Stella. In conclusion, this video was okay. The animation and effects were well done, but I definitely recommend dedicating more time to buffing out the clipping, lighting bugs, and arcing issues. When it comes to the story, this entry was pretty lackluster. It just seems to double down on all the events of the last video, making Stella's transformation just a filler plot point. As a whole though, this is still a fun addition to the Fractured series.
I can't believe you've done this.
Ha ha ha!